Hello everyone, it's Christine here, and we have a new prompt for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery for our Field Notes journal, and the prompt is Autumn Birds. And as soon as I heard the prompt, I remembered this lovely fabric that I have featuring autumn birds, and it already looks to me like a Field Notes journal. So I've actually previously stitched on this fabric for my treasure hunt piece, but I'm planning to do something different this time and to use some of these gorgeous beads that I got in my haul for Thrifty Thursday, which I shared this week. I'll link to that video in case you haven't caught up. And I'm thinking of doing a beaded bird for something different, because when I stitched into it, I did all sorts of feathery bits. But first of all, let me just show how I've set up the page. I might bring you down so that I can sit down and see what you can see. So what I have done with the page is I've actually backed it with a piece of this sort of industrial style felt. I say industrial style because I think they use it inside like cars and boats and things, so it has a bit more structure than another felt, which is good for giving a nice sort of solid base. It's not as soft as like a wool felt, but because this is going to eventually in my Field Notes journal be wrapped around a cardboard comic board page and form a front, and then there'll be one on the back, you won't even be able to see or feel the felt underneath. So it's really just giving a nice surface, a nice solid surface into which to stitch. So I just attached that on with some Yoo-hoo glue first, and then I've gone around and stitched around as a decorative stitch using this lovely vintage crochet thread. It's a Coats number 60. I've just got a whole drawer of lovely vintage crochet that I just sort of reach for. So I've just done a running style stitch around the sort of outside, following and not stitching through sort of key elements like the flowers. I've then done some French knots down here within these little shapes, and I'll probably do some other little seed stitches or other sort of stitching between some of or around some of the elements. I'll probably also do some stitching into the leaves as well. Some of those, is it Y stitch? I always forget. Fishtail? I can't remember. So yeah, at the moment it's just being held nicely with that, but yeah, we'll definitely get some other stitches in. But I thought we could start and do some stitching on the bird. And I just realized when I grabbed that piece of thread before and pulled it off the back, it's actually my beading needle threaded up. So what am I thinking of using? I've got mixed a little ready the round beads, and then I think these are the bugle beads. Is that what they're called? Yes. And then I've got some brownie ones, two different brownie and goldie, so I thought they might be good for some of the feathers. I've got there's actually a mixture in here. I did combine a few of the different beads I got because I kind of like to have a bit of a mix. I think it gives variety. So again, I might be able to use that where I want it to be less long sort of feathery bits. I've then got some creamy coloured beads, as well as some grey and some other goldie ones, bugle beads in here that might be good for down this area. So I thought let's just get stuck into it. I've got a beading needle or a milliner's needle here. And so what I am going to do, let's start with the tail, I think. And will we do this colour or this colour? Maybe we'll alternate rows of these. So I should probably, if I've got my little beading triangle handy, have I got it handy over here? I know I had it the other day, but I might have had it in my Fleurwoods goodies, and I might not have grabbed it out yet. So yeah, we'll just try and pick it up from in here. I think that should work okay. So I think I'll try and sort of stack a row of these and then come back and maybe stitch through them. I'm not an expert beader. We had a wonderfully expert Bella the beader at our Fleurwoods workshop, who was one of the participants, but that's her specialty. Oops. Well, eventually maybe I'll just dig it in. No, sometimes digging it in you get one, but sometimes you need a bit more practice to get it just right. Need a few more. They are all different sort of lengths. But I've never done a beaded bird, so I'm always trying to kind of find things that extend my practice and also use supplies that have come in. Sometimes if you put stuff away, you'll kind of, it won't enter your memory banks that you've actually got it in your stash. So it's nice to dive straight into your newly acquired goodies. And really lovely to use these really special fabrics. This was, probably one of the earlier new fabrics that I bought. Had long time been a sort of, gatherer of vintage fabrics, but one of the few sort of new fabrics that I had purchased, but in a vintage style. So I've done a stitch in the end, and then I might actually just pop back up out of a different hole. And then I think I might bring my needle up and I might put a stitch down between each of the beads to hold it in place. I don't know if this is the appropriate way to do it or if there's a different way. So I'll then pop up. I just want to make sure they stay sort of nice and secure, and I figured that this will achieve that purpose. Now I'm going to bring you down a bit more, so you're kind of a bit more closer to me, because I tend to be holding this a bit closer to me as I stitch. So I'm starting filming this on Friday night. I imagine I'll probably still do some filming tomorrow, because I don't think beading's a particularly fast activity. So hopefully you won't find it tedious, but I'll try and bead some different bits of it so you get to see what it looks like. I imagine once I get all of these stitched down as well, I can come back and run a thread through them again just to kind of get them to lay nicely. As I say, all experimental on my behalf. I've not done a beading class. So, let's see. Okay, so that's now gone like that. So I think I'll just then bring my needle back up again. And then I think if I take it down through the beads again, let's see if we can get it to go. Back down through here. Alex is talking very loud to Travis as they come up the stairs. Not sure what he's talking so loudly to him about. Not sure. Okay, so let's just pass our needle through there. And then I will have to go and say goodnight to Alex and Travis. But I will be back with you. So what do we think about that? I think that's pretty good actually. So I'll just stop here, but I'll be back in the merest of moments for you. Okay, so I'm going to continue on with the other colour, the goldy colour. So I think I'll just alternate these, and I'll start this one just a slight bit higher. I suppose I can just pick a few of these up at once, which might work better. Guess that's the advantage of these needles. You can get a few on and then you can shuffle them down. Yeah, I think that's going to be nice. They don't look too different next to each other, but it just gives a bit of colour variation. That's a good length as well. It's like both lengths have been almost perfect. Okay, and then I'll pop back up and I'll do, I think, another passing of the thread all the way back up to kind of get them sitting nicely, I think, first up. pass it through here. I like that these beads, that the bead containers that the beads came in, they're nice and big, so I hope they're less prone to being knocked over like the other tiny little tins I had. That's why I combined some of the smaller ones into the bigger containers. Okay, and then I'll come down again and I'll start putting the little stitches between each of them. I think it is a good way to get them secured. Again, I just like to sort of show you things that are me trying things out so you can also kind of learn from the experimentation and try things yourselves and suggest your own things in the comments. Yeah, I don't know what I've done with my little beading tray. I did have a quick look around, but I've still got a few things to put away from that I took to the Fleurwoods workshop, so it's probably just hiding somewhere in that stash of goodies, because I'm pretty sure I had it there. It's just a little triangular tray that's good to put beads into. That to sit straight, hopefully. And this does mean if the thread at some point breaks, hopefully there's enough kind of holding it in place rather than just relying on a single thread. That's my theory anyway. But what I probably can do, but this probably won't need to do too many rows for the tail. Sorry, I'm just having trouble getting into that one there. So we can probably get the tail done pretty quickly, I think. As quickly as things go in the world of beading, that is. Okay, cut through this last one and then we'll bring it down. So as you can see on the back, we're getting all those little tiny stitches, holding it in place. And then I will pass my thread all the way back up, but I'll do it in 2 stages because the needle's not quite long enough to go all the way. Oops, come on. Through we go, there we go. But yeah, it's just such a good thing getting someone else's selection of beads. I'm sitting next to the lovely Joanne, as well as sitting next to Kate at the Fleurwoods workshop, and Joanne was saying, yeah, she often looks at the beading websites where they're selling them and just gets overwhelmed by the choice. So it's kind of nice to get a bit of a mixed bag. Okay, so we'll go back to our darker ones. Stack a few onto the needle. There's plenty of these, so good to be using some. I suppose beads are one of those things, it's very hard to run out of beads, I think. They go a long way. Maybe if you're beading all the time and beading everything, but when you're just using beads sometimes in your slow stitch, I think they're going to probably last you pretty well. And I'm just going to use a nice tiny one for the end here. Actually, it probably needs to, I might just, don't want to unthread my needle. Can I get might use 2 small ones at the end, or a longer one, but a single longer one. Just to get it the right length. That one looks pretty good. Yeah, that's good. I just wanted it to come up a little bit. So that's pretty good. So I wonder if I can get away on this one. I'll probably still come back and put the various stitches through, but just so that I'm not making it too tedious for you, I might just do the passing back through. The other thought I had is rather than, I might just try something slightly different on this one, just to try a different technique and show you something different about how I might be able to anchor them down. I'm not sure if it will work though, but let's give it a go. Okay, let's bring that one up a little bit. That is pretty well anchored. I was just thinking I can always put some little stitches essentially couching down the cotton that's held between them, but I think I'll probably just come back and do what I'd been doing elsewhere. But I might just keep going so that you get to see more of the beading. But yeah, just worth thinking about how well you need to anchor things down, particularly if it was on a piece of clothing or a bag or something that's going to have a lot of wear. I do think there is merit in, yeah, the extra anchoring stitches. Yeah, you can barely, looking at it in this light, you can barely tell the difference between the gold and the brown, but I'm sure maybe in the daylight it will be more obvious. Now I'm wondering, do I just actually make this one a tiny bit shorter, or do I find a very nice short little one to use for the end? That's quite petite. Will that be short enough? Probably will be if I anchor it here, but then I might need to anchor it a slightly different position up the top. Just going to pass my needle back through, back through, back through. And what I might just do, I'll show you what I was thinking, because I'll just go use up my thread. I was thinking I can put a little stitch across between the beads to help anchor them in place, almost like couching at the joins, which will go over the thread that's holding them in place. And I think that will actually work quite well. And then I don't have to be tediously passing the thread back through the beads. So that's just a second option. So just sort of couching over the joins, and I can do 2 rows at once. And in fact, if I had finished the whole piece, I could even come and do all of the rows at the one time. But I'm just using up my thread while I've got it. So yeah, just putting a stitch over where the join is so the thread sinks into the little join, but then holds the thread that's joining the beads in place. And I think it's going to hold all of this just really nice and securely. So let's tie this off. Didn't get an awesome tie there, but that's okay. And that's what it's looking like. I like it. I think we should continue because I think it'd be nice to see that finished. I think I'll start a bit lower down here, so just sort of graduating down to where the tail would be. Now we've got the graduated back to the darker ones. So this is very relaxing to do on a Friday night before what will be a long weekend for many folks. I haven't taken Monday off. Alex hasn't taken Monday off. And then Tuesday's Melbourne Cup, but we don't believe in horse racing because of the cruelty to animals. So we'll probably just go for a picnic on Tuesday, I think. But we're planning on going for a picnic tomorrow to the beautiful Inverloch that we call Travis Disneyland. It's the beach. And we have a picnic down there, and Travis absolutely adores it. Now, I don't think I need that last bead that I've got here, so I'll just take my thread back through And that is the advantage, I think, although this time I seem to have actually managed to, might need to take the thread out, I think. Thought I was going to be able to get it to go through properly without problems, but no. So yeah, we'll have a lovely picnic by the sea after Travis has a morning run at the beach and then an afternoon run at the beach, and he'll be happy and tired and feel like he's had a very good day, and we will feel like we will have had a very good day. I might even talk Alex into checking out the Salvos op shop down that way. We shall see. And then I think we're going to pop into Aldi on the way home. We're just both astounded by the rip-off merchants that the supermarkets are becoming these days. I was looking at just a face wash, just like a Neutrogena face wash, $18. It used to be $6. Just crazy. But then I looked at Chemist Warehouse and it was only $10. So yeah, the supermarket just making an $8 profit essentially. So you do have to look around, and yeah, just for some basics and things. Alex loves, even though he shouldn't have it, he loves chocolate. So he goes through a decent amount. He has some chocolate each evening with his milk. And yeah, the supermarkets, what crazy prices. But the Aldi chocolate's always quite yummy, I think. Not that I'm a huge chocolate eater, but Alex says it's particularly good and a lot more cost effective. So we thought we'd stop by Aldi. We get our farm box each week delivered, although sadly I was chatting to the man that runs it, who lives just a few streets away from us, and we were one of his very first customers, so he has a special soft spot for us. But he was saying they're really struggling again with the sort of the price rises on everything, I guess, on labour and petrol and everything. And they'd gone into partnership with a small organic farm so that they could have a fully organic farm box offer. So I imagine even the sort of, the primary production side of things can be quite challenging. So I think I'll bring another one down, even though it's sort of going out from where the pattern is, so that it can be that further bit of the tail. Now, where am I? Am I at the top or at the bottom? At the top. So I think I'll take the thread down and then back up again to secure this one. I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. I was chatting away. So I'm not sure if I should actually. Maybe I'll just bring one out like so it comes more a bit across like that. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't bring it all the way down. Yeah, maybe I just come from here. Let's see how that looks. Maybe I should have done each side first and then sort of worked my way in. We shall see. Oops, and I haven't done it the way I'm normally doing it, but that's okay. I think I do need to actually start that a bit further down. So I'll just bring my needle back up and kind of position it with a second stitch to where I want it to be. Yeah, I think that will work. Now we're catching our tail. Oops, come on, through. What's going on? There we go. Out you come. Yeah, I might need to kind of nestle that over slightly on an angle, but I think I can do that after. And then probably just a little one here. Do we have a tiny little one? Well, that's a broken one. Oh, there's a nice little one. Can I catch the baby one? There we go. Okay, and we're right on the edge here. And so I'll bring my needle back through these to sort of get these into alignment. And then I'm thinking I need to probably almost bring it over so it's kind of nestling right into here. Perfect. I think makes those move a little bit, but I think that's okay. I do think I might. I wonder. Wonder. Do I want to, with my little couching stitches, I'm just wondering if I want to kind of get these to just nestle a bit over the top of each other, so that it does, so the tail does just slightly come in, and I think that's doable. And because this isn't closing or anything, it's not like a book, it's going to be a display book, I think that will work. Sure, it's not conventional, but I don't do conventional. I do experimental. I think I was going to call this, wasn't I, the field notes of an experimental stitcher or an experimental fibre artist, I'm not sure. Fibre textile artist. Yeah, I like that because it starts to then give the tail, it's like the feathers are a bit more jaggedy. I almost want to get these ones that I've stitched down so well, I almost want to get these to have a bit of movement in them as well. Oops. Yeah, I think that's going to work. I think I like that. I'll almost bring this one, I think, almost out a bit more to the middle. Because that one's still got a bit of movement in it, because I hadn't anchored that one down. So that's the advantage as well. If you don't anchor all your beads down, if you just did the long runs and then came back and did the couching, it gives you the flexibility to kind of do this melding with it. Yeah, I reckon that works. Okay, so I am pretty happy with that little dimensional tail there. That's great. Oops, where are we? What are we doing? I wonder if I should just stitch over that slightly other bodgy knot that I did down here, which will just secure it and then mean I can cut that other bit off too. Just with beading, you definitely want to know your threads are well anchored on the back. The great thing is these will all be then enclosed on the page. Yeah, that works for me. Keep wanting to touch it. Okay, let's get a decent length of thread in case we lose any when we are threading the needle. See, sometimes it just works. Sometimes it doesn't. Now, will we have a go? Will we maybe use some of the red bugle beads coming down into here? Or do we want to use the more orangey ones that we've got below? Or maybe we'll use these because they're a bit softer. I think they'll be good. Okay. So, and maybe I won't anchor these ones down because maybe again I can just sort of position them at the end. So you learn stuff. You do stuff, you learn stuff. Can't learn it all out of a book or even, you can't even learn it all at a course or anything. It's just, it's a slightly different, that's a more browny coloured, but I think because I've got a mixture actually of orangey ones and more reddy ones. It's almost pinky. How's that going to look? I think I might try to stick with the reddy colour. Sorry, I'm just now unthreading the beads. That worked that time, which is good. So let's get that colour, that reddy, that nice sort of muted red. What does it remind me of? It reminds me of those sort of comic firecrackers that they kind of let off in those sort of comic shows. No, that's an orangey one. It's almost a slightly match red, I think. Okay, so I think I'll just bring that one down to here-ish, and they can kind of just sit like that. Next one I'll just start a tiny bit higher. There's a poor dog outside somewhere in the distance barking away. Probably its people have gone out for the evening and it's communicating to the neighbourhood dogs to see what's up. Travis never has that experience because he's always got us around. It's only one funeral we've ever been to where he got left here alone, and I left my spare phone recording him so I could keep an eye on him. Had it connected up to a Teams call. We didn't have a pet cam or something because we really don't leave him alone. He's always got company of us. So that's probably enough, I think, for those little bits. And I'm pretty happy with how they're positioned. I probably don't know if I should put maybe just a tiny little, if there's a very small red, or maybe I do need another small brown just to put in that little gap down there. No, that's too big. Hard to find the very small ones that aren't already a bit broken. Probably doesn't matter actually. I'm not going to worry about that there's a tiny little gappy bit down there. I think actually it's probably nice because it, not sure. I do want something there. You like that sometimes you're looking at going, oh, that'll be all right, and then you think, no, I actually want to find something for that. Let's look. No, I don't think we're finding anything. Might be something I have to keep an eye out in the box for, unless there is something in here in the way of a particularly small little reddy coloured one. But I'm not sure that there is. What size is that one? Oh, that was not too bad actually. That might just fit. Don't know, or would be slightly too, but maybe I can just nestle it over to here. Let's try our nestling technique. Let's see if that will work, and then maybe I can just anchor these ones down. Yes. I have a plan. So I'm going to get this one to come on over this way. If I can. Just need to pull that thread down to the bottom, get it to anchor over a bit, and then bring my thread up here and get these ones to come across a bit as well. That's better, and then I'll just twist and give a bit more movement, and I think that will be good. I reckon I can probably hold all three of these because all their little cracky bits are about in the same place. I can get my thread to hold all of them, I think, at once. Just ease the thread down into their cracks. We shall see. Maybe I should have done them individually. Let's do an extra little stitch over. Great, and then I'll just do some individual little stitches over these ones down here. Again, just to hold them in place. But yeah, I think that's worked, having that little extra one, and I'll just probably just angle it a tiny bit. Bring that down and just angle it a little bit more down into here. And yeah, I think that's good. I think that's working, sort of melding down. Okay, and then, so I think for the body we'll probably do similar to what we've done for the tail, but in the browny colours, probably more in this lighter colour. So we might come up and do some of the little round beads, which is what I'm thinking of using on the chest. Oops, what have I done there? Okay, so we will choppy doozy that off. Yeah, I do like that. I keep looking at it, sorry, I'm just keeping on picking it up and going, oh, that looks nice. So we're going to use some of our little round beads, and I think this is the best colour of them. And so I think I'll probably use these individually rather than stacking them. Oops. And let's have a look which side they look best on. I think on their sides is best. I think this will be my heaviest hand beading that I have done to date. Usually it's just been adding a bead here or there. Yeah, I love how the colour's sort of moving off the tail. I love how this is, yeah, adding that pop of, yeah, shine to the breast of the bird. Can always come back through with some stitches if any of these little beads sort of need repositioning. I'll just try and get everything down first. Painting with beads is definitely a slower process than painting with thread, I think. Although in some ways, like when you've got those bigger beads, that you can cover an area relatively quickly. It's probably just the positioning that takes a bit of time. Oops, come on. Needly, needly pops. At least the little sort of stab and scoop method, which I think my friend Heather, Creepy Cutie Crafty, was suggesting to me the other day. That seems to work okay with these little round beads. Because I'm not trying to get these sort of super precisely positioned, I'm not trying to get them exactly in rows because I want them to look organic like feathers. I think that makes the task a bit easier too. So I'll come back up once I reach the bottom to add another row or a few rows in the places where it's a bit thicker. I'm actually really excited to be doing this. It's good to challenge yourself, because I was thinking, oh, do I do the same sort of stitching that I did last time? But where's the fun in that? I mean, it would have been enjoyable. But it's probably, for those of you that have seen that video, you've already seen me stitching into my bird, thread painting it with little sort of feather shaped stitches. And you will see that being attached to my vintage family heirloom quilt soon when I get back to that. But this will probably be a relatively quick field notes this time around. There won't be too much more stitching after this, just a little bit of, I'll probably leave the other bird as is, because I think it's nice just to sort of have a real focal point on the page, but then leave some of it a bit more downplayed, but probably just a bit of stitching into the leaves, etc. As I mentioned earlier. Apologies if I'm speaking quietly. Yeah, Travis and Alex have gone off to bed, so I don't want to be waking them. Sometimes when Travis hears me, I can hear him jump down off the bed because he's obviously wanting to come and see what Mum's up to. Join the party, join the stitchy party. It's happening Friday night, I can tell you. What time is it? Oh, 10:26. That's okay. Just thought, seeing us on a roll of beading. Okay, so I think I can now start heading my way back up. And maybe this is one of the cases where I do the outline on the other side and then come and fill it in the middle. Do you reckon? I'm asking you, do you reckon, in the very Australian slang, even though you can't reply back, can you? It's a very tiny bead, this one. It's a miniature. But again, you get very tiny feathers as well, so I must admit I'd never thought of doing beads for feathers until I had the beads sitting. I'd literally been combining them up and sort of, sorting them out last night, and they were still sitting on the craft desk, and so it just coalesced in my mind, as it often does. Whatever's as close at hand often finds its way into my work. Oh, I do love these little beady feathery bits. I think they are super fun. Super duper fun. So we'll get up to the top, and then I think we'll make our way down, back down the middle, and fill out the beads. See how that works. So let me know in the comments if this has got you thinking about beading, doing some feathers, maybe doing your Roxy Field Notes Autumn Bird with some beads, or just got you curious, or maybe you're very expert at beads and you can tell me I'm doing it all wrong. I don't think there's a wrong or a right, just different techniques, different play. I'm sure if you're doing like professional beading or something, there is wrong or right, but in the slow stitching world of beading, I think it's about having a go. So yeah, I don't have to fill every single tiny space with a bead. It's really just getting that massing. So in this thicker part, I can just sort of stagger them to fill in the middle. Oops, come on, back in there. One in there, almost getting down to here. And so I think I'll do a similar thing with, oops, and I've just lost that bead and lost another bead on my desk. It's good having this quilt on the desk because it's quite easy then to pick up any Great Escape beads. Yeah, that little scooping is working very well, Heather. Didn't work as well on the bugle beads. Oops, I actually got 3 beads then. Didn't need it to work quite that well. Got 2 beads and I only need the 1. So that's pretty good, I think, for the body. So I think I'm going to do the similar technique with the pearly coloured one. If we pop through about here, grab our little more roundy beads. Hopefully are these going to fit through? Yes. I was about to say this is such a fine needle, you'd hope that would fit through. just love how luminescent this is making it all. It's like the sun is catching the glebe on the feathers. It's good that I haven't shaken these mixed beads up too much, otherwise it'd be harder to access the ones I want. I'm sure I probably could have done these as stacked rows, but I want them to look a bit more random, I think. And by stacked rows, I mean stacking all the needles on in one go and then anchoring them down. Not all the needles, all the beads on in one go, sorry. End of the week. My brain is relaxing into the weekend. Sometimes I don't think the holes in the beads are fully sort of pushed through. Like you just needed to get that one to loosen a tiny bit. Yeah, I think I got the colours I got in this bead collection. They're a good complement for, and I don't have as many bugle beads, so yeah, it's good to add. So even though the pattern sort of goes to more yellowy down here, I might just bring the white, pearly white ones down, I think. So I'll come up here. Might just anchor this one in a smidge more. Where is the hole? Just want to get that to come across a bit over into here. There we go. So yeah, I could have probably done that all as a row. Wonder if I should try doing a little row here just so you can see how it works. And so I can see how it works too. Because I think I might still be able to get them using that same technique to still be a bit irregular in how they're laid out. Sometimes you can't even see the hot little holes. Don't want to put too many on because I might not need all of them. Why is that one sitting that way around? All the others are laying on their sides, but this little bead is wanting to be not on its side. Ah, there we go. So I think I need maybe one or two more. I'm going to lay it down along here. Maybe another one. Might do that, bring that up to there. And then bring these over a little bit. So this is where, again, I'll do some couching, I think. So I'm essentially using the thread to sort of pull these to sit where I want them to sit. So that actually works quite well. So good to try things And so I probably just need another little row coming down from here, or maybe just a few over the top over here. So I might not do these ones as a row. I just anchor these little ones in themselves. Isn't that looking beautiful? I don't necessarily mean my beading looks super well. I mean, I think it's it's okay, but I just mean the beads look so lovely. Such a pretty bird. Could make a beautiful brooch for yourself, this sort of technique, couldn't you? I'll probably have to stop filming soon, and then, because I think mostly I'll just like use the red up on the head, and then I'll probably do the bugle beads down on the body, and maybe a few of the, so I'm thinking, yeah, these brownie ones with a bit of sheen on the head up here. And then I'll come back, I think, after that and show you either in this video or in another video. We shall see. Just have to look at how much time I have taken and what I can edit out. Might just, even though it's not quite the pattern I feel, I want to put another little bead in here. That's pretty good, and then I can come in with the other brownie beads. Okay, so it's the next day and I have finished beading my bird. I actually stayed up way too late last night beading it because I was having such a glorious time. And then today, while we were travelling down for our picnic at Inverloch, I used just some crochet thread to just outline around some of the elements of the piece, just to give it some almost like a cantha stitching, so really essentially a running stitching, but then using that running stitching to outline and just, I think, enhance the image. So for example, this bird, I have just done some running stitch around the flowers. Previously I'd done those little French knots in the centers, and then oops, there's my beading thread coming over, and then just some stitching around here around some of the squares, so it almost looks like the collaged bits are actually kind of stitched on with stitching. But here is the bird, and I'm actually super thrilled for someone that's not a professional beader, someone that hasn't done any beading classes or anything like that. It's worked out really lovely. So yeah, for the feathers I use these bugle beads in the brown and the goldy colour, and then these, this reddy one for these ones here, or did I can't remember, or what was I using these? No, I think I used these slightly more matte ones for the feathers down there, and then I used the red beads, the small beads for the breast and for the little head up here. For the head here, I did actually string these up as rows and lay them down. Even here with these beads, I did those as rows, but then they looked a bit too almost like he had hair on, so I ended up then using some thread to kind of get them to go a bit more higgledy-piggledy, because that's how I wanted them. These ones I just put on, and I think I did that with you, just put them on some of them were in little rows, but mostly they were done randomly. Those were all done randomly. And then I used some of the little yellow ones to fill in this area around the eye. And then for the eye, sorry, I'm just reaching across. I used one of these beautiful iridescent ones, and I think it works great because it does sort of flash with a little sort of eye colour. I don't know if I think you'll be able to see it on the film. So that worked well. And then I had the challenge of what to do for the beak, because I needed a dimensional beak, because otherwise it was looking a bit flat. And so I used some of these yellowy ones. And then I used a tiny little yellow bead at the very end of the beak just to kind of bring it to a point. So yeah, I think that has worked well. I love that it's got a little bit of dimension and a little bit of movement in it. I did just before add a few extra little stitches with my beading needle over sort of the top to make sure everything was being held down where these bugle beads are, because they do kind of butt up against each other. So it did still have a bit of movement, but it's all pretty solid now. So I'm going to call that a success. I hope that's given you some inspiration to play with beading. Hopefully you can look out for some secondhand bead supplies, because it does just take a bit of the stress out of having to buy them, and then you can just play around with what you've got. And as you can see, you can mix all sorts of colours together. You don't have to even exactly follow the design. It's a bit like painting with thread. You can change the actual colour of the flower, or in this case the bird. So yeah, I better give you a little look from top to bottom. So that's the top bit. So lovely little French knots and lots of stitching. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be blending these various videos together into a single video for you. And I'll be back very soon, because I've got so many projects on the go. The next one I think will be sharing progress on my fleur woods and my plans for using one of the pieces, and how I'm going to then involve another one of the pieces. So thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.